welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jazzy. You have joined at quite the time. This has been a saga, our whole neighborhood drama. If you guys want to see it from the beginning, definitely check out the playlist below, but honestly, you're gonna get the gist of what's been going on just from this conversation, this video. I call it a conversation because I'm talking with you guys, but you guys are gonna understand completely what's gone on through this whole entire thing, I think, just from me having this conversation with you guys. So, pretty much, what has been going on, our neighbor moved in months ago. I'm actually not going to recap it. Basically, she's been leaving like weird things at our door, dog shit at our door. This past couple of days, finally, 2 days after we put our doorbell camera up, mind you, those of you that haven't been here the whole time, she has a doorbell camera up. She's had it up for like 4 or 5 months at this point. So she should be cool with us having a doorbell camera up. I'm not cool with us having one up, but we have one up now. So anyway, a couple days after we put our doorbell camera up, Dominic's sitting in his car taking an interview, and she gets home and goes inside of her house. Then, literally 2 minutes after Dominic comes into our house, she goes out 2 minutes after Dominic comes in, and she circles Dominic's car. Like, literally circles it and looks at every single one of his tires. And then she walks back up to our apartment, and she knows we have a camera up here, and she looks right up at our camera and she says something, but I can't hear her because we don't have a doorbell camera up where you can hear audio. And she says something, and she does something like this. And so Dominic and I didn't realize that this all happened because, like, we don't review our footage constantly. Like, that's just not our style. But we ended up putting the doorbell camera up, and then like days after we put the doorbell camera up, she made some sort of comment on the doorbell camera, hoping, like, saying, I hope he does something to my car, or I hope he hits my car, or something like that. And I was like, what is wrong with this lady? Like, I actually don't understand why she would think he would do anything to her car. We don't go near her car. She parks her car way on the opposite side of the apartment complex. Like, we have literally never gone near her car. I have evidence of all of this, but you know. Anyway, she says that, so I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Like, I'm going to go review the footage from the window. So I go and review the footage of the parking lot, and I find the footage where she walked around Dominic's car, like in a circle around his car. So Dominic, at this point, we are over it. Like, we have had it. We have had it. I have talked to her camera. I have tried talking to her in person. He's tried talking to her in person. He's talked to her camera. We're done. Like, this is ridiculous. So, and at this point, like, she's clearly trying to plot something against our cars in our minds. This is what's going on. So, anyway, Dominic goes downstairs right away when I review the footage, and he says to her camera, I know that you circled my car at this time on this day, because obviously we have the footage of it. And he goes, if you continue to do this, I will be getting the cops involved, and I will not let you be living underneath us any longer if you continue doing this stuff. This is ridiculous. It's been 5 months at this point. She moved in December, and now we're in May. Or I guess that's 6 months, but either way, it's been a long freaking time for her to be doing this kind of stuff when we're doing nothing to antagonize her, other than when she does something to antagonize us, addressing it with her on camera and saying, hey, if you want to have a conversation, our door is fucking open. But anyway, that's besides the point. He says all of this on camera, probably says it a lot meaner because it's Dominic. He's a guy, and it comes across a bit meaner from a guy, and also, I'm sure he cursed her out, not gonna lie. But then, the next day, because she's circling his car, like, at this point, she's putting us in danger. Like, nothing that we've done, like, talking to her camera, is anything that it could even be bad, because we haven't done anything to her. Like, we haven't physically gone near her car. We haven't physically knocked on her door. We don't knock on her door. We don't ring the doorbell. We stand at our door and we talk to her camera because we would like to talk to her, but she does not want to talk to us. So that all goes on. Dominic and I are both at this point at our wits' end. We've both at this point threatened the cops, and I have never threatened the cops to her before until this last incident where she put the trash and like knotted it on our door handle. That sent me. I was like, listen, if you continue doing this, we are going to have to contact the cops for you. The reality of it is, she doesn't want us contacting the cops. She is not a good person. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to say all of her background and stuff, but there's no way she wants us to contact the cops, let alone we don't want to contact the cops. We want to just live peacefully and not have to deal with her. So then the following day, Dominic and I go out to coffee. We're just having like a nice day. Gonna go get coffee. Like, it is what it is. This has been happening forever. It was no different than any other day. Like, there's been millions of times she circled my car and looked in my car and like just literally looked, like leaned over my car and looked in it. Like, it's just crazy. So at this point, we're just like, it's another day in the life. Like, it's really nothing. So we go get coffee. We come back and I check our doorbell camera because our doorbell camera had gone off a bunch of times while we were gone. And her guy that comes and stays with her once in a while came and he knocked on the doorbell, or he knocked and he rang the doorbell. And he was crazy in the camera. You guys, like, went off in the camera. And, like, I wish so badly I could show you guys. I'll put a picture. It's not going to have the same effect. I'm not even going to put a picture. Because you have to see his face to know how crazy he was. And to even, like, feel what was going on. He was crazy. But, anyway, he's on the doorbell camera. I get it. He was nervous because she's his baby mama. And he's worried about his baby at that point. And so, not her, but the baby itself. Because Dominic obviously said, I don't care that you have a baby on the way. I don't care that you have 2 kids. If you continue doing this, like, you're messing with us at this point. Our initial issue with her was her abusing her children and us being able to hear it throughout our apartment. Like, literally hear her slap her children, like, loud, you guys. Like, I'm talking, like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not for spanking, but you do what you gotta do. It's your kid. It's none of my business, honestly. But when I can hear you calling your child an effing idiot and so effing stupid, I can't wait till you go back to your dad's. You are such an effing idiot. Like, I'm sorry. And then spanking, like, pull your brother's pants down, she would say. You guys already know. You already know. The people that have been here already know. But at this point, she's dealing with our shit. Or, like, messing around with our stuff. And we can't have that. So, anyway, the guy comes, knocks on the door. He's like, you and I are going to have a conversation. This is what he does to the camera. He goes, my man, you and I need to have a conversation. So, when you get back, we're going to have a chat. Look me in the eyes. This is exactly what he did, you guys. He goes, look me in the eyes. Remember this face. Dominic and I are literally like, is this guy on something? Like, he's crazy. He clearly didn't have the whole story. And, like, the true reality is, like, he genuinely, after we talked to him, he seemed like a nice dude, but he just is trying to protect his woman. I understand. There's really no excuse for the way he acted on our camera when he doesn't have the full story. He just had what she told him, which was the video that Dominic said, you know, we're going to call the cops on you. You're out of here if you keep doing this kind of stuff. And, you know, he just had that. So I get why he came at Dominic so hot on the camera, but, I mean, he was pounding on her door, too, and which we've never done to her. The first interaction with her is the only time Dominic's knocked on her door or touched anything, like knocked on her door. And you guys all know the first interaction, too. Anyway, so we come back. We didn't know that any of this was going on. And this happened like 5 minutes before we got back, mind you. So we come back. We come in the house, and I look at the camera, and we see it. So Dominic's like, okay, I'm going to go. Oh, and then the guy said, I just want to have a peaceful conversation with you. Well, I want a peaceful conversation with you while, like, bugging his eyes out.
My man, I want to talk to you. You and I are going to have a conversation, you and I. Okay? A friendly conversation. Alright? Just get a look at the face. Alright? Remember this. We're going to have a conversation. A peaceful, respectful, adultful, man to man, me and you. Okay?
And so Dominic goes downstairs and he knocks. This is the second time he's ever knocked on her door. He knocks. Nobody answers, obviously, because the guy's not there. He literally just pulled in and then left. And so then Dominic rings the doorbell and he says, listen, I'm down for a peaceful conversation. That's literally all we've ever wanted with you. We've just wanted to have a peaceful conversation with you. So I'm definitely open to having a peaceful conversation. Comes back inside. And I wish so badly I could show you guys all the footage. It's crazy. But anyway, he comes back inside and the guy comes back. Literally 3 minutes later, the guy's here again, which is crazy because he's never here. Like, he's only ever come here once, or not once, but like once or twice a month usually is when he comes, and like he's usually here for like the weekend and then he leaves. And it was like obviously the middle of his workday or something, and he came over. There's just a lot going on there that we don't need to get into. But anyway, he comes, he pulls his car right up to the curb. He gets out of his car, knocks on the door again, so crazy. You got like so loud. I just really want to show you guys everything, but, and so he knocks on the door. Dominic's getting ready, like I'm grabbing Sunday so Dominic can go down. He knocks again, like so loud. It's just crazy. So Dominic goes down and goes out the door. The guy stands there and he goes, come over here. I want to have a conversation with you. And Dominic's like, we can have a conversation right here, which is right in front of the cameras. Like, we're not going to get off camera to have this conversation. You said you wanted to have a peaceful conversation. I'm here for a peaceful conversation, but it needs to be peaceful. If you don't want it to be peaceful, we don't have to have a conversation at all. And the guy was like, what can I do? He's very animated. He's like, what can I do to get you to stop what you're doing, is what he said. And Dominic's like, well, get her to leave us alone and I will stop. Get her to leave us alone. And he goes, what is she doing to you? My jaw dropped. I was like, this guy literally doesn't know a thing. And so Dominic goes, well, for starters, she has been putting notes at our door. She put dog shit at our door. She's been putting all this trash at our door. She's walking around my car in a circle, looking at all of my tires. She's looking up at our camera and making weird hand gestures and like saying all sorts of things we can't hear because we didn't have a doorbell camera. And then on top of it all, the first interaction that I had with her, she was beating her kids, and I came down to talk to her about it, and she didn't answer the door. She talked to me through the door, which is fine. I understand because I'm a man. And she talked to me through the door, and she said, you know, she called me and my wife fat, is what Dominic said, which is, she didn't say we were fat. She said, you're heavy as F. So, fill in the blanks. And it wasn't you're walking heavy as F. I know, I've already gone over this with you guys, but she called us fat, basically. So, anyway, this was the first week she moved in, too. And then she put the notes on her door. And he goes, what do you mean notes? I don't know about any notes. This is what the guy said. And we're like, oh, Dominic's like, she's put a lot of notes on our door. And he's like, well, I don't know about no notes. All I know is that this whole yelling at her camera stuff has to stop. And then Dominic goes, okay, I'll stop as long as she stays away from my car. She can't be walking around in circles at my car. That's just not okay. And he's like, it's a free parking lot. She can do whatever she wants in the parking lot. And then the guy goes, you know, the whole reason that she's doing that, I'll tell you what's going on. Her tires had their caps pulled off of them. And her tire, she had to get all 4 new tires because the caps were pulled off of them. And Dominic goes, can I show you something really quick? And the guy goes, yeah, of course. Like, honestly, I as much as I didn't like the way the guy was acting, I appreciate that he even talked to us because that's all we've wanted from the lady downstairs. And he didn't have to, honestly. He didn't have to hear us out. And he really did try to hear us out and hear our side of things, which I appreciate. So anyway, Dominic said, here, can I show you something? He said, yeah, of course you can. Dominic walks him out to the middle of the parking lot, and he points up at our window, and he said, if I did anything to her car, it would be on camera. We have had that camera up forever. And he goes, I know about the camera. That's what camera. It's crazy. So anyway, he goes, I know about the camera. And then Dominic's like, okay, well, like, there shouldn't be any issue there then. I haven't touched her car, but I shouldn't have to say that, honestly, because I have proof I haven't touched her car. And he goes, well, whether you did it or you didn't, there's been issues there. And so she thinks you did it. Or he goes, you're the prime suspect. That's what the guy said. I know he was just trying to, like, intimidate Dominic into, like, not talking to the lady's camera anymore, obviously, because that would make him look like a prime suspect. But I don't care. We don't care if he's a prime suspect because he didn't fucking do it. But anyway, and Dominic would never, like, that's the thing, you guys. Like, Dominic is, as much as he's like a crate, like, he's amped. Like, Dominic can get amped. You guys see Dominic all the time. He would never touch someone's property. Like, that's just not his style. He's not a criminal. Like, that's just, I mean, that's just the reality. So that all goes down, and he ended up coming back to the, like, doorbell area again. Dominic does, because he's like, we need to have all this on camera, obviously. And the guy says to him, I don't care if you did it or you didn't do it. You need to stop bullying a pregnant lady. And I'm sitting in the house, like, I'm literally at the bottom of the stairs listening. I'm like, that's complete and utter bullshit. And that he just kept saying over and over again, think about it. She's pregnant. You're bullying her. You need to bully someone else. Bully another woman, or bully a guy. Bully me even. But don't bully a pregnant lady. I'm standing in the house like, are we 5? Like, are we, like, in elementary school? Because I'm pretty sure bullying is what she's done to us, but not even bullying. Like, bullying is such a, I mean, I appreciate that he used that word, because rather than using, like, the word harassment, but that is what she's doing to us. She is harassing us. So the fact that Dominic is talking into her camera isn't bullying. That's him acknowledging what she's doing to us. Like, in all of the things he's recorded on her camera, he's said, like, you need to stop doing this specific thing. It's not him bullying. He's never said he's never said you're heavy as fuck or anything like that. Like, that's fucking bullying. I don't know. Bullying is like picking on someone, pulling their hair and shit. Like, that's bullying. This is harassment, what she's doing. Dominic is addressing her harassment. That's not bullying. I'm sorry. So, anyway, he said that whole piece. I go out there immediately when he's like, choose someone else to bully on. Because if I know anything, it's that my husband, or future husband, isn't a fucking bully. Like, he's somebody that calls people out on their shit, but he's not bullying you. Like, get over yourself. And also, he kind of made it seem like Dominic was like this crazy, like, guy, like, bully another girl, no, he's amazing. Like, he's literally amazing. So I was just pissed. So I go out, and they both look at me, and they're both like, we're having a conversation. Dominic's like, go back inside, babe. And I'm like, you won't bully me. No, it didn't say that. But he goes, go back inside, babe. And then the guy goes, we're having a conversation man to man. That's what he said to me. I'm like, f you, first of all. The patriarchy, man to man, my asshole. But anyway, that's beside the point. I go out, I say, I don't care that you're having a conversation man to man. I'm gonna tell you straight facts right now. I feel bad for this lady. Like, we know she's pregnant. Like, we don't want any ill will for her. When I see her crying on camera, like, now I have to really see her crying on camera, you guys, because of this whole doorbell camera situation. When I see her crying, like, I feel bad for her. Like, I don't want her to be sad. Like, that's not the type of people we are. So you're getting the wrong idea of the situation, and that's just because she's only told you part of the story. Like, she's been putting notes on our car, and he's like, well, what I saw in that video last night just was not okay. He just kept bringing it back to that video because that's the only information he had, was the video. So, like, he didn't have anything else to work off of. He just had this one video that he saw of Dominic, or maybe a bunch of videos, who knows. But he didn't even know that I had addressed anything with her, because he kept saying, why don't you talk to her? How come you don't talk to her? You should be the one that talks to her. I'm like, do I need to pull up my freaking YouTube channel right now and show you all the times I've tried to talk to this lady? Because there's been a bunch of times that I have tried to talk to her. I have been the one that's recorded on her video camera and, like, said things to her video camera. Like, she's just not sharing that with you. I have tried to be civil with her, and we're past the point of civil. And, like, if that's not clear based off of the videos, nobody does those types of things or yells in a video camera unprovoked. And that's the thing, is that guy yelling in the video camera, like, we could be frustrated. We could be pissed about the way he handled that situation, because he doesn't know us from Adam. He doesn't know us at all. And the way he came at us in the video camera was really, really messed up. In the doorbell camera, I mean. But we know he's justified. Not justified, but we are understanding that nobody does that unprovoked, and she told him a different story than what has actually been going on. Not my first rodeo with psychopaths. Honestly, she is one. She's either a psychopath or a sociopath. Either way, she is something along those lines because she's definitely manipulating the situation to make him believe she's like this victim, this like poor little pregnant lady. I'm sorry. We're the same age, first of all. She's probably, I think she's like 2 years older than me. She has 2 kids and she's pregnant, obviously. So she's a grown adult, pregnant or not, you don't act the way she's been acting. I'm sorry. So anyway, oh, you guys, there's so much more to say, and I'm already at 23 minutes on this video. So okay, so let's just end it with that because I got so much to say. You guys, this is going to be a 2-part video. I am so sorry, but we have to have it be a 2-part video. Let me just tell you, the way that the interaction ended with him, there's still so much more after the interaction with him. But the way the interaction ended with him was we were telling him, you know, as long as she stops doing what she's doing, the videos will stop. We don't do this for kicks, like, but then that's what he kept saying. He's like, she's got better things to do than be putting trash at your door. I'm like, okay, clearly she doesn't, because we literally have it on video, her picking up dog shit and bagging it and putting it at our door. Like, I'm sorry, but she doesn't have better things to do. Yeah, she's lying to you. And then, this was really crazy. He was giving us a bit of information about himself and her life, and it was odd, because it was unwarranted. We did not necessarily ask what their situation was, but he said, listen, I'm the baby daddy, she's pregnant, our situation is, and then he like did this weird thing with his face, and then he goes, special. And then he goes, trust me, I know she's got a temper. I know she's working on the way that she treats her kids, but I know she's got a temper. There's a reason why I don't live here. Or not live here. There's a reason why I'm not here, is what he said. Because our situation is special, and don't worry. He says, don't worry, she won't be here much longer. Sooner or later, I'm going to put her someplace else. That's what he said. But he said it under his breath, probably hoping she wouldn't hear him on the camera. But anyway, he pretty much told us, I mean, we're pretty confident that there's something going on there, that he doesn't, that there's something there. I'm not going to go into details of what we think or speculate on his life, because he didn't seem like a bad dude, if I'm being real with you. He seemed like somebody that was coming to protect his baby, really, honestly, because Dominic did bring up the fact that she was pregnant on the camera. So I think he was just scared because, I mean, that is kind of scary to have someone say, I don't care if you're pregnant. I don't care how many kids you have. If you continue doing this, I will be calling the cops on you. Like, to have someone saying that, you kind of do get scared, especially if it's his child. So we definitely get that. Like, we definitely understand that. Dominic apologized. He said, listen, man, like, I know I was in the wrong to say that stuff, but I need her to stop doing all of this stuff. And the videos will stop if she stops instigating, basically. There's so much more I wish we would have said to this guy, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Oh, and then he really wanted to see the notes, which was so annoying because like I wasn't expecting this all to happen. So it's not like I had the notes like in my hand, or like in my phone. Like I had to go and scroll through, and like I couldn't find them. I was shaking like crazy. And also, he just kept bringing it back to, why don't you guys have a conversation with her? Like he said to Dominic at the end of the whole like interaction, he says, well, why don't you just talk to her? Quit with the yelling in the camera. Why don't you just talk to her? And he just doesn't know. I'm just inclined to believe he hasn't seen the other videos where Dominic did just talk to her, where I did just talk to her. But you can only just talk to a camera so much, knowing that the person's in there, not like coming out to you, like knowing that and having them like instigating all of this stuff, putting trash at your door, circling your cars, looking inside your car. You guys know everything that's happened. You can only have that happen so much before you're no longer just talking to that person. You're yelling at that person, and you're demanding that they take responsibility for their action or stop. We don't even care if she takes responsibility for her actions as long as she stops. But in hindsight, I wish what we would have said to the guy at that point was, who's out here right now? Who is standing out here in the doorway having a conversation with you? Because the reality of it is, the guy was there who doesn't even live here, this random dude, basically, me and Dominic. So 3 people are standing out there. Meanwhile, baby mama's inside the house, not coming out to have a conversation. And it was a civil conversation, honestly. There was some heat, but it wasn't like, it was very peaceful. And maybe she would have made it not civil, and that's why he didn't tell her to, or like ask her to come out. But for him to keep saying like, why don't you guys do this? Why don't you guys do that? Like, why don't you get her to come out here? And then we will, because we can't force her to do anything. We can't force her to come out. And if we did, like, then we look real crazy. Like, if we just, like, camped outside till she was out there. And, like, I'm not gonna make someone uncomfortable, like, in person if they're not gonna respond to me. Like, that's just not my vibe. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to come at someone. I am not interested. And also, she has a criminal record. That's just a reality of it. I don't want to interact with her in person. I honestly don't, because we don't know what she'll do. And that's what he kept saying too, like, what would she do? She's a pregnant lady. I'm sorry, but she could do a whole hell of a lot to our vehicles. And she can do a whole hell of a lot, honestly. So all she has to do is, I mean, we don't know her. She seems psycho. She is. I'll explain that all to you guys in the next one. We'll get to that next time. But anyway, in the end, he ended up leaving because I couldn't find the notes. It was really a bummer because when we mentioned the notes, she started calling him off the hook. Literally, his phone was ringing the whole entire rest of the conversation when we brought the notes up, because she didn't want him to know about these crazy notes she's been writing. Like, the notes are crazy, you guys. Anyway, I am going to end this video here because it's already just so long. I will be doing the part 2 next on my next videos. I thought it couldn't get crazier, honestly, and it got crazier. So I will talk to you guys in the next one, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts.